This week on Granite State Challenge, the Falcons of Bow High School take on the Wildcats of Fall Mountain Regional High School. Only one team will advance. Granite State Challenge starts now.
Major funding for the production of Granite State Challenge is provided by Unitil. Additional funding provided by NEA New Hampshire, Safety Insurance, New Hampshire Lottery, Heinemann Publishing, Cognia, HRCU, Manchester Community College, and viewers like you. Thank you. Get ready. It's time for New Hampshire high schools to match wits in a high-stakes scholastic showdown. It's time for Granite State Challenge. Here's your host, John Cannon.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us on Granite State Challenge this week. This week, we are in our 8th and final game of our first round. We've got two brand new teams here to do battle to see who's going to make it on to the next round of Granite State Challenge. Let's introduce them to you. First up, we have the Falcons of Bow High School. They're led by junior captain Justin, who's a 3-season athlete. Which one do you like best?
I play golf in the fall, Nordic in the winter, and then outdoor track in the spring.
You have a favorite?
Golf's my favorite.
Golf's your favorite. Hopefully you have somewhere to practice nearby.
Absolutely.
All right, he's joined by senior Aaron, whose favorite class is?
College comp.
College comp, and probably because of a great teacher who is?
Yeah, Mrs. Dustin.
Mrs. Dustin. A great teacher, yes?
Yeah.
And a great teacher makes for a great class. Aaron is joined by Madeline. Madeline's a senior who was on the Granite State Challenge team last year but didn't get to compete because?
I was in Spain.
You were in Spain. What brought you to Spain?
We were there for my cousin's baptism, but we were also lucky enough to be able to go to Barcelona and Seville, where my uncle's from. So, unfortunately, I couldn't be here, but it was still fun.
Hey, a Spanish vacation, not so bad. And she's joined by Colin. Colin's a junior who also does 3 seasons of sport, but all running sports. What are they?
Cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track.
Okay, do you have a preference between cross country and the track?
Probably outdoor track, just really good at it,
All right.
Natural talent.
There you go. There's a reason to like it if you're talented. The team is coached by Michelle Lavaz, and the alternates are Connor and Jacob, and they are the Falcons of Bow High School. All right, let's introduce you to their opponents this week. They are the Wildcats of Fall Mountain, and they're led by senior captain Morgan. And Morgan, you are both a scientist and a musician. How did you get into the music part of things?
So it started with concert band. I switched from trumpet to percussion, and it led me into playing vibraphone and jazz band, and I love it.
Vibraphone, what is that?
It's like the xylophone, but a lot better.
Okay, but better. I love it. She's joined by senior Brendan, and Brendan does one of my favorite sports in the wintertime, which is?
Nordic skiing.
Nordic skiing,
Yep.
and good season?
Very good season. We've won both meets this year.
Okay, excellent. And classic or skate?
Skate.
I gotta ask. All right, I like it. He's joined by Jake, a sophomore, who has an interesting hobby, I think. What do you like to make?
I like making bread.
You like to make bread. I think that's fantastic. Your team says you're great at it. Do you have a specialty?
I can make a good sourdough.
A good sourdough bread. Excellent. And he's joined by Gabrielle. She's a senior and is a big fan of vintage fashion. How'd you get into that?
So it is mainly inspired by all of the pasta clothing I found in my mother's closet.
Excellent.
And I also really like the sustainability aspect of it, and including the idea of not buying anything new, just buying used, so that we have a more minimal effect on the environment.
That's great. That's a great reason to do it. The team is coached by Nick Belsky, and the alternates are Marcus and Isabel. Let's hear it for the Fall Mountain Wildcats. All right, and one more introduction, of course, and that's our judges. Back with us this week are Ann Belanger and Jim Johnston. All right, teams. Introductions are done. We're going to jump right into the game. As you know, Granite State Challenge played in 4 rounds. In round 1, we do 10-point toss-up questions. So, Bo, Fall Mountain, 10-point toss-ups. Good luck. Here we go. What narrative poem by Edgar Allan Poe begins with the lines, "Once upon a midnight dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious volume of forgotten lore"? Madeline of Bo.
The Raven.
That's the one. In 1497, this Italian explorer landed in what is now Newfoundland on a voyage commissioned by King Henry VII of England. Aaron of Bo?
Vespucci.
Sorry, nope. It's John Cabot. This 18th century theologian and chemist, credited by many with isolating oxygen and inventing soda water, was also one of the founders of the Unitarian religious movement. Madeline of Bow?
Lavoisier?
Sorry, no. Person we're looking for is Joseph Priestley. All right, teams. Plato referred to this Greek poet from the island of Lesbos as the 10th muse. Most of her work survives only in fragments or as mentions in the works of other writers. Madeline of Bow?
Sappho?
Yes. This viral disease, which leads to jaundice in about 15% of cases, is spread by mosquitoes. The disease killed 9% of the population of Philadelphia in 1793, driving President George Washington out of the city. Brendan of Fall Mountain?
Yellow fever?
That's it. In the Samuel Taylor Coleridge poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, this bird was hung around the neck of the ancient mariner as a punishment for killing it. Jake of Fall Mountain?
Albatross?
The albatross, yes. Artist Alexander Calder was the first artist to create these kinetic sculptures, but it was artist Marcel Duchamp who suggested he give them this name. He suggested they be called mobiles. In which Canadian province will you find the cities Saskatoon and Moose Jaw? Aaron of Bow?
Saskatchewan.
That's it. All right, teams, go ahead and take a look at the monitors in front of you for this video question.
Hi, I'm author and illustrator Tommy DePaola. In my children's book, 26 Fairmont Avenue, I share memories from my life when my family lived in Meriden, Connecticut. During this time, New England was hit by the hurricane known as the Long Island Express. In what year did the Long Island Express hit New England?
The Long Island Express, sorry, Madeline didn't quite get there in time, is 1938. 1938. This 1865 short story by Mark Twain, originally titled Jim Smiley and His Jumping Frog, was his first major success as a writer. Aaron of Bow?
The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn.
Sorry, nope, good guess. You may or may not know it as the Jumping Frog of Calaveras County. This French composer's best-known work, Bolero, was commissioned as a ballet by Russian dancer Ida Rubinstein. Brendan of Fall Mountain.
Ravel?
We'll give you that. Which Ernest Hemingway novel focuses around a group of expats who travel to Pamplona to watch the running of the bulls? Madeline of Bow?
Sun Also Rises?
That's it. Meursault, the main character in this novel by philosopher and writer Albert Camus, shows no grief at his mother's funeral. In fact, he smokes and drinks in front of her coffin. The novel was The Stranger. Mary Shelley, author of the Gothic novel Frankenstein, was the daughter of this author of A Vindication of the Rights of Woman. Gabrielle of Fall Mountain.
Mary Wollstonecraft.
That's it. This German philosopher, often associated with nihilism, wrote in his 1889 book Twilight of the Idols how to philosophize with a hammer. Without music, life would be a mistake. Morgan of Fall Mountain.
Nietzsche.
He's the one. We'll give you that. You will find a statue of Kentuckyville native Commodore George Hamilton Perkins at the State House in Concord. It is the work of this Exeter, New Hampshire native, best known for the statue of Abraham Lincoln at the Lincoln Memorial. The sculptor was Daniel Chester French. Teams, the 18th century period known as the Enlightenment is also known as the Age of this. Brendan of Fall Mountain?
Science?
Sorry, nope. It's known as the Age of Reason. Mick Jagger, Eric Clapton, Marianne Faithfull, Keith Richards, Graham Nash, and this legendary drummer for The Who all sang along on the refrain on the Beatles song, All You Need Is Love. Keith Moon was the drummer of The Who. This Nantucket, Massachusetts woman who discovered comet C1847T1 in 1847 became professor of astronomy at Vassar College in 1865, where she taught until a year before her death in 1889. And her name was Maria Mitchell, but that's the sound that ends round one. And after round one, we've got a tight match with a 40-50 score of Bow and Fall Mountain. All right. Teams, we're going to move right on into round two. In round two, we do 20-point toss-up questions. However, the first question in round two is actually our Unitil power question, which will come to you on your monitors, and it is worth double the points. So we're starting off round two with a 40-point Unitil power question. Take a look.
2 U.S. states have 4 S's in their name. One of them is Mississippi. What's the other one?
So close, but so far, it's Massachusetts. I know. Released in 1968, this artist's 27th album was recorded at Folsom State Prison in California. Colin of Bow.
Elvis Presley.
Sorry, nope. Morgan of Fall Mountain.
Chuck Berry.
Sorry, nope. It's Johnny Cash. This New Hampshire governor served as chief of staff for George H.W. Bush from 1989 to 1991. It was John H. Sununu. This dwarf planet found in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter is named for the Roman goddess of agriculture and fertility. Jake of Fall Mountain.
Ceres.
That's it. All right, teams, you may need pencil and paper for this question. There are 9 zeros in 1 billion. How many zeros are there in 1 trillion? Morgan of Fall Mountain?
12 zeros.
There are 12 zeros, yes. This reclusive author moved from New York City to Cornish, New Hampshire in 1953. He lived there until his death in 2010 at the age of 91. Madeline of Bow?
Salinger?
J.D. Salinger's correct. This part of the U.S. Code, enacted in 1799, makes it a crime for unauthorized individuals to negotiate with foreign governments that are in conflict with the United States. That act is known as the Logan Act. This Beijing collection of buildings served as the home to Chinese royalty for centuries. Aaron of Bow.
The Forbidden City.
Correct. This Central European country is made up of 9 states, including Salzburg, Tyrol, and Burgenland. Morgan of Fall Mountain.
Austria.
Yes. This Chicago gangster was taken down by the FBI on charges of tax evasion in 1932 at the age of 33. Jake of Fall Mountain.
Al Capone.
He's the one. A penny-pinching miser might be called this name, inspired by a character in a Charles Dickens novel. Madeline of Bow?
Scrooge.
Yes, correct. All right, teams, go ahead and take a look at your monitors for the next picture coming on up. This dime-sized butterfly is found in Pine Barrens and is the state butterfly of New Hampshire. It is the Carner Blue butterfly. This single-named singer played Ava Perón in the movie version of the Andrew Lloyd Webber and Tim Rice musical Evita. Brendan of Fall Mountain.
Cher?
Sorry, no. Madeline of Bow?
Madonna?
Yes. This could be a candy bar or a novel by Alexandre Dumas. Madeline of Bow?
Three Musketeers.
That's it. In 1995, this British musician, known for songs like Goodbye Yellow Brick Road and Rocket Man, won an Academy Award for Best Original Song for Can You Feel the Love Tonight from The Lion King. Justin of Bow.
Elton John.
Yes. Presidents Ulysses S. Grant, Rutherford B. Hayes, James Garfield, Benjamin Harrison, William McKinley, William Taft, and Warren G. Harding were all born in this state. Aaron of Bow.
Ohio.
Ohio is correct. Just under a minute to go in round two. Coach Dean Smith led this college to 11 Final Fours and NCAA basketball championships in 1982 and 1994. His 1982 teams featured freshman Michael Jordan and junior James Worthy. Justin of Bow?
UNC.
Yes. George R.R. Martin has said that the title of A Song of Fire and Ice was inspired in part by the poem Fire and Ice by this poet. Justin of Bo?
Robert Frost.
Yes. Whoopi Goldberg, John Legend, Mel Brooks, and Andrew Lloyd Webber have all won the 4 awards that make up what is known as an EGOT. What are those 4 awards? Colin of Bo?
Emmy, Tony, Grammy, Oscar.
Yes, you got them all. This German author of the novels Steppenwolf, Siddhartha, and The Glass Bead Game won the 1946 Nobel Prize in Literature. Madeline of Bo?
Yes.
Yes. And that sound ends the round, and after round 2, by a score of 260 to 130, Bo out to a bit of a lead. All right, teams, as we go into round 3, I'd like to invite the alternates to join their teams up on stage for our 60-second round. In the 60-second round, both teams will be given 10 questions in a category. We'll give them 10 points for each correct response, an additional 10 points if they get all 10 correct. So, Fall Mountain, as the team trailing, you get to select first from our categories. And Morgan, as team captain, you can talk to your team. You can choose from Pining for the Fords, Blowing in the Wind, and It's Good to be the King.
It's good to be the king.
It's good to be the king. Okay, Morgan, I'm going to take your answer as a team answer, but you can talk to your team. If you want to pass to move on to the next question, just say pass. In this category, it's good to be the king. The answers to all of the following will include king. Got it? 60 seconds, start the clock. He climbed the Empire State Building.
King Kong.
Yes. He had a guitar named Lucille.
B.B. King.
Yes. He wrote Carrie.
Stephen King.
Yes. She wrote hit songs for others in the 60s and then for herself from the 70s on.
Carole King.
Yes. She fought for pay equity for women in tennis.
Billie Jean King.
Yes. His videotaped beating by police led to riots in Los Angeles in 1992.
Pass.
It's Rodney King. He became famous for the magic video he posted on Vine.
Pass.
It is Zach King. Louisiana politician Huey Long was known by this nickname.
King Cobra.
Sorry, it's King Fish. This animated sitcom features Hank, his wife Peggy, and their son Bobby.
King of the Hill.
Yes, he was one of the leaders of the 1955 Montgomery bus boycotts. Sorry, I didn't quite get to that question, to the end of that question. Judges? 6 out of 10 on their 60-second round. All right, Fall Mountain, hang tight. We're going to turn over to Bo and Justin as team captain. You can choose. You can talk to your team. You can choose from Pining for the Fords and Blowing in the Wind.
Blowing in the Wind.
Blowing in the Wind.
Blowing in the Wind it will be. All right, Justin, I'll take your answer as the team answer, but you can talk to your team. And if you need to pass, just say pass. For this category, Blowing in the Wind, the answers to all of the following will include the word wind or those letters in it. Make sense? All right, 60 seconds. Start the clock. Kenneth Grahame novel featuring Mr. Toad.
Wind in the Willows.
Wind in the Willows.
Yes. Town in Rockingham County, New Hampshire, between Hudson and Salem.
Wyndham.
Yes. Song by Elton John about Marilyn Monroe.
Candle in the Wind.
Candle in the Wind.
Candle in the Wind.
Yes. Novel by Margaret Mitchell featuring Scarlett
Gone
and
with
Rhett.
the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Gone with the Wind.
Yes. American band known for the songs Let's Groove in September.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Yes. Vanessa Williams covered this song from the movie Pocahontas.
Colors
Colors
of
of
the
the
Wind.
Wind.
Yes. 1978 song about fleeting mortality by the band Kansas.
Pass.
It is Dust in the Wind. Play and film about the Scopes monkey trial.
Wind.
Pass.
It is Inherit the Wind, nickname for Chicago.
Windy City.
Yes, Don Quixote tilted at these.
Windmills.
Windmills.
Windmills is correct. 8 out of 10 on your 60-second rounds. All right, teams, great job. Thank you, alternates. You can go ahead and resume your seats, and we're going to head right on into round 4, Bo and Fall Mountain. It's about the same score from last round. So in round 4, we continue with 20-point toss-up questions. However, we will be deducting 20 points for incorrect responses. So you can play strategically, and a lot can change in round 4. So, Bo, Fall Mountain, good luck. Here we go. This former prison, found on an island in San Francisco Bay, housed infamous criminals like Whitey Bulger, Al Capone, and George Machine Gun Kelly. Brendan of Fall Mountain.
Alcatraz.
Yes. This style of fiction was first introduced in Horace Walpole's 1764 novel, The Castle of Otranto. It often combines horror and romance. Examples include Wuthering Heights, Frankenstein, and The Picture of Dorian Gray. Madeline of Bow.
Gothic?
Yes. This singer and actress got her start on Barney and Friends and went on to play Alex Russo on The Wizards of Waverly Place. Gabrielle of Fall
Selena
Mountain.
Gomez.
Yes. In 1924, President Calvin Coolidge established the Craters of the Moon National Monument in this Rocky Mountain state to, quote, preserve the unusual and weird volcanic formations. And that national monument is in Idaho. While it is named for this North Dakota city, almost all of the action in this Coen Brothers movie takes place in Minnesota. Jake of Fall Mountain.
Fargo?
Yes. The Red River serves as part of the border between Minnesota and this state. Jake again.
Wisconsin?
Sorry, no. It is Minnesota and North Dakota. The Blue Danube by Johann Strauss II is prominently used in this 1968 Stanley Kubrick film. Madeline of Bow.
2001 Space Odyssey?
Yes. Grand Teton is the highest mountain in Grand Teton National Park, and after Gannett Peak, is the second highest mountain in this state. Aaron of Bow.
Wyoming.
Yes. On December 7th, 1787, Delaware became the first state to ratify the U.S. Constitution. On December 12th, 1787, this state became the second. Colin of Bow?
New Hampshire.
Sorry, no. I don't blame you for taking the shot, but it was Pennsylvania. Alfred Hitchcock's movie, The Birds, is based on the short story, The Birds, by this author, also known for the novels Rebecca and My Cousin Rachel. Madeline of Bow.
Du Maurier?
We'll give it to you. This choreographer and director, often identified with the term jazz hands, is known for his work on the Broadway musicals The Pajama Game and Damn Yankees. Won the Oscar for directing the 1972 film Cabaret. Choreographer and director is Bob Fosse. The unnamed main character in this 1952 novel by Ralph Ellison reflects on how he has felt unseen as a black man. Madeline of Bow.
Invisible Man?
That's it. At the Albany Conference of 1754, this future founding father proposed that the colonies form a unified colonial government with a president appointed by the British Crown. His proposal was rejected. Madeline of Bow?
Hamilton?
Sorry, nope. It was Benjamin Franklin. David Dinkins, who was the first African-American mayor of New York City, served from 1990 to 1993 until he lost re-election to this man. He lost election to Rudy Giuliani. This breed of dog gets its name from a Canadian province and is the most popular breed of dog in the U.S., Canada, and the U.K. Colin of Bow.
Labrador.
Yeah, we need
Labrador
more.
Retriever.
Yes, thank you. What author created Bill the Lizard, the Lorry, and the March Hare? Madeline of Bow.
Carroll?
Lewis Carroll's correct. This author created the character Philip Marlowe and is known for his detective novels, including The Big Sleep, Farewell, My Lovely, and The Long Goodbye. That author is Raymond Chandler. About a minute to go in the round. This musical, the musical My Fair Lady, is based on this work by Irish playwright George Bernard Shaw. It was based on Pygmalion. In this 2006 movie, Mumbles the Penguin can't sing, but he sure can dance. Jake of Fall Mountain.
Happy Feet?
That's it. Because he stated that North and South America was a new world and not just an extension of Asia, the Americas are named for this Italian explorer. Brendan of Fall Mountain.
Amerigo Vespucci?
Yes. This tiny, tiny country was founded by St. Marinus in the year 301. It has a population of around 33,000 people and also has the highest rate of car ownership in the world with around 1,263 cars per 1,000 residents. Aaron of Bow.
San Marino.
Yes. This holiday, celebrated on February 2nd, got its start in Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. Brendan of Fall Mountain.
Groundhog Day.
Groundhog Day is correct, and with that brings Fall Mountain up to 290. Not enough to defeat Bo, who wins today's match with a score of 460. Congratulations, Bo. Great win. We'll see you in the next round. Fall Mountain, tough loss today, but we hope you had fun, and we're certainly glad you guys made it. And we hope that you had fun at home as well. And we hope that you join us next week for our first semifinal match between the Tomahawks of Merrimack High School and the Phoenix of Academy for Science and Design. That's it for us this week. We had a lot of fun. We hope you did too. I learned a lot, and I hope you did as well. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Major funding for the production of Granite State Challenge is provided by Unitil. Additional funding provided by NEA New Hampshire, Safety Insurance, New Hampshire Lottery, Heinemann Publishing, Cognia, HRCU, Manchester Community College, and viewers like you. Thank you.